Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Well, guys, welcome More Homes team for another edition of the Morning Rise. Um, I'm going to do an introduction to the speaker today. I'm a big fan of the show called A Passionate Few. For those that are here from our More Home team, I'm going to send you guys a link. It's a YouTube show. It's a podcast on Spotify, Apple Music. This guy named Omar Alatar. He's young kid. And he's interviewed Tony Robbins, Ed Mylett, Grant Cardone, that's Edison's boy, Patrick Bet-David, my hero. He interviewed all the top-notch entrepreneurs around the world, and he interviewed our guest today. And I was like, boom, my parents are from Pakistan, India, where my grandmother was from Delhi. So we have Pakistan and India have a good bond together. I'm like, you know what? My boy from India is on Omar's show. It's a big deal. It's a huge deal. One night, so I listened to the interview. Him and his wife Bianca, beautiful wife from India, and their story is amazing. So I reached out to him. I said, hey, can you come on and talk to my team and share some values? Absolutely. So without any further delay, Abby, welcome to More Homes.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Khurram. And I've been watching your stuff and you've been inspiring me with your story as well. And this just, I love that we have that India-Pakistan connection, but I think the value you and I bring can go out to everybody in America, every immigrant, whether you come from Europe, whether you come from China, whether you come from Korea. I think everybody has their own struggle, has their own story. I know in your case, I was very inspired by the way you came out of your situation and what you're doing right now, and even the value you're bringing right now. My story is a little similar, a little different. I was born in India, but a very different upbringing. Parents got divorced when I was 3, raised by my father at 12. I'm not going to go too much into it because I had a great upbringing. I didn't have a bad, I'm just a different but great upbringing. And I was put in a position when I was 21 where I did not have a lot of opportunity in India. And I was packed up and sent to the United States with $200, a plane ticket, and lots of dreams. And I migrated from India to Los Angeles. Right.
What part of India, by the way?
Bombay, Bollywood. So that's why Bollywood to Hollywood. My wife now, she's a Bollywood actress. She's done over 30 movies in India. That was my ultimate sale. I convinced her to leave Bollywood and join me in Hollywood. And
yeah, I'm gonna get that story. I heard that Omar show. I'm gonna have share with my team. So Edison's a big fan of Bollywood. He always teases me about Bollywood all the time. Edison.
It's the largest film industry in the world.
It's bigger than Hollywood.
Oh, yes.
People don't know that. It's bigger than Hollywood. They make Hollywood look like a junior project.
Oh, absolutely. I've never seen the kind of attention. I mean, I joke. We did the podcast with Omar. I think I had like 11,000 views. My wife's videos have like 7 million views. It's insane. Yeah.
Eddie, you want to see something? Edison, you want to see something? I think
no. I was just going to add to the whole Bollywood thing. I just love their special effects. I don't know if have you seen them? Like the guy, jumps from a car that's diving across the air, jumps from the car to a helicopter,
grab the helicopter
into the cockpit. This is crazy. I love the special effects. It's great. Better than Hollywood.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah. So going back, and it came to Los Angeles, immigrant, first job at a motel, working from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m.
How old, Abby? How old were you exactly at that time?
I was 21 years old.
21 in America, $200 in your pocket.
That's it, $200. The first thing I bought was a Nesquik. I still remember because I talked about it in the Passion Few as well. When you're an immigrant, you walk in, you're counting every dollar. I walk into the local liquor store and I'm thirsty, and I wasn't drinking at that time, and I bought one of these Nesquik things. It's like $1.99, and I remember like that's the first $2 I spent. Now I got $1.98. What am I going to do next? Luckily, I found this Indian family, Patels. Shout out to all the Patels. They run the motel industry. They gave me an opportunity to stay with them and work at cleaning rooms and stuff like that. So went from then, traveled all over, landed up working in gas stations, did every immigrant job you could think of. At one point, I was even a bouncer at a strip club, which is not a very common job for Indian guys with Indian culture.
Absolutely not. That's a taboo.
Yeah, most of the time, if you look at immigrants, you think of, people coming with families. They have a lot of family support. My case was a little different, but, it's adversity. But, as, life will make you tough. Life will stay tough and your adversity will make you stronger. So it actually, I think like Ed Milet says, life happens for you, right?
Yeah.
And so at that time, I didn't have a choice. So I was like, well, what am I going to do? I worked whatever job I could get. I remember one time I was in Long Beach. I couldn't even get a job as a pizza delivery driver because I didn't have a California license. So a lot of struggles, and landed up, when you fast forward, landed up coming to Hollywood and staying there, got a job at a call center, ran a call center, lost that business, lots because of the recession at that time in 2008. And that's when I got a job in plastics. I applied to an ad on Craigslist. It said make $150,000 a year. So I liked that. And I walked in, no experience, no engineering background. And I started working for a company. And then and I worked in the plastics industry about 10 years. And 4 years ago, we started California Plastics, which is now an 8-figure company, one of the fastest growing plastics resin distribution companies in North America. And we've been featured next to the top 10 companies multiple times in the top plastics news publications. So just, an immigrant story, came with nothing and just had the right attitude. And now we're adding value to the plastics industry and hopefully to your listeners too.
Wow. So lot to unpack there. So let's go back. So I'm a big fan of going back to the early years, the development, the chip on the shoulder, as we say. So I know you want to touch about your family. I mean, your family situation. I know about it from Omar's show. So dad got remarried. Positive. You said positive outcome. You came to America age 21. Tell me the feeling stepping in LA, California. Were you like, you know what? This is gonna be easy, bro. I got this. America, the land of the free and opportunities. Or were you like, you know what? What am I doing, man? What the fuck am I doing?
No, great question. That's exactly what I was saying. I was fucking terrified, pardon my French. Because, you're not coming to America for vacation. You're coming now to change your life. You don't know what next thing's gonna be. You only have $200 in your pocket. There's a lot of other issues too, like your visa, like getting your green card, getting residency. Where am I going to work? Back then we didn't have Uber and other things where you could just go and get a job. It was hard to even get an immigrant job at that time. So now it's just, I laugh at because I wish I was a student now because I could go, do work for a food delivery service or nothing against that, but work for Uber or Lyft and get some money. But it was hard to even find a resource. So yeah, I was terrified. I still remember that feeling, leaving Bombay airport and like, what am I doing? And just, it almost was like, I was kind of like just zoned out and I was just floating, going with the floor. And when I came, I realized that, wow, this is harder than I thought. It's a lot harder than I thought. So yeah, absolutely, a lot of nervousness, a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression. For 1 month, I remember I was locked in, and I never told this to anybody, but I think I told my wife the other day, I was, because I didn't want to scare her, that I would literally get locked into my room at night and cry because I'm 21 years old. I don't know. I mean, forget having a future. I didn't even have a country because even I didn't have the citizenship back then. So, and I couldn't go back because I was told, don't come back. So yeah, it was tough.
Wow, man. I could only imagine that. Oh, I'm born in America, bro. I'm born in Brooklyn, New York, and we take it for granted. Well, the ones that are born here in this country, we take it for granted. A lot of our team agents are from other countries, and I salute you guys. I salute you, Abby. Abby, where were you living?
I was living in Long Beach in a motel. So I would work one of the deal was, and again, you wouldn't get, if you look at the math, I think I was averaging $3 an hour, but I'll take whatever I can get. So you would work at a motel in the daytime, you would clean rooms. And this was in Long Beach, not the best part of Long Beach. So you had all kinds of, let's just say extracurricular activities happening. And you were thrown in the mix, and your job, and these rooms used to get rented by the hour. So your job was to clean the room every hour after the person would leave, after doing whatever they were doing. And then you make it up again. So it would be a full day of laundry, clean the room, front desk, and then repeat. And then at night, they'll give us some food. And then, I'd go back to my room and then it happens again. And this happens 7 days a week, so I think I did it for about a year.
Wow.
The good thing is I got to save a lot of money because I wasn't spending any money. I was working all the time. That's the other thing I think everybody can relate to is, I think a lot of times, and this could go to immigrants or even Americans born here, when you're being productive and you're adding value, whether it's working at a motel or running a business or running a franchise, when you're adding value, you're not spending. I think you're either earning or you're spending. So you gotta have that mentality is to stay busy. And then if you're looking to save money, if you're looking to start a business, sacrifice. In my case, I had no choice. So it's harder when it's easier to me when I don't have a choice because it's all I do. It's harder when you have choices to make that sacrifice. Okay, I'm not going to go out Friday, Saturday night. I'm not going to go shopping. I'm not going to buy that extra iPhone. Instead, I'm just going to focus on whatever I'm doing, whether it's working 2 jobs, get more hours and just work. And if you do that consistently for a year, now you've got some money in the bank. Now you've got the freedom to make that decision to go to the next step, whether it's starting a business, changing your job. And that's where you're not stuck in that quicksand.
Guys, team. And by the way, Edison, anyone team to jump in, question, notes, comments. My interviews are open platform. Let's unpack this for more homes for 1 second. You have a 21-year-old gentleman here from India, bro. From India. India, I don't know if you guys know, it's just a very different country, and he's in America. I can imagine his world from here. It's not here. Sacrifice. New agents coming on our team, they want a new iPhone, they want the Beamer, the Benzo, right? They want all the fine things, but they don't put in the work first. Look, if you have a sugar daddy, sugar mommy, or a mom and dad who's gonna help you with support that information, more power to you. God bless you. Take it. Buy me a watch too, if you will. But listen, if you don't have that supplemental income, put away. You could put that as a goal. Put it as on your vision board, Rolex or a Gucci bag, whatever your thing is, right? Restaurants, nightclubs, vacation. However, you have to put in the work. Unless 1% of the people, maybe 0.5% get very lucky that money will fall in their lap, but most of us have to work for it and sacrifice and plan. Abhi, let's go, man. So you're doing random jobs, security at strip clubs. You're doing, hotel. I know what type of hotel you're working at. A motel, let's just say. It's
it's rented by the hour. Let's put it that way.
Gotcha. Fair enough. And you every time someone's done with the room, you go in there, wipe it up, make it clean, and next one. And in return, in trade, you sleep there and get a meal. Crazy. All right. So you're 21 at this time, right? 22, 21?
Yes, 21 years old.
When did you apply for California Plastic? Oh,
when did I start California Plastics?
No, the job, the plastic company job. When did you start?
So actually,
what year was it?
So that was actually that was 10 years, 2011, because I actually landed up. This went on for a while, so I have a long journey. It's that overnight success, 25 years in the making, right?
Yeah.
So, I didn't, after working in motels, I still had to land up working in gas stations. I was in Milwaukee, Chicago, came back. And I actually had a job in a call center in Hollywood in 2005, which was my first real job where I would make like decent money. And that's when I started developing these sales skills of, we would make 300 calls a day. And, for me, it was like going from working at a gas station, making $10 an hour to now making a commission check of $1,000 a week. I thought I was at the top of the world. I was like, I remember calling up my dad and, hey man, I made it. You kicked me out, but I'm out here making $1,000 a week and not, in telemarketing, you only work like 4 or 5 hours a day. Really, you just, the call center. Yeah. And then I landed up starting my own call center, and I had a team of 20 people. We were reselling long distance. This is before there was Vonage, before there was all this IP. Absolutely. So we were doing, we just walk into businesses and tell them, hey man, how we can save you 30% on your phone bill, switch to us. And it was great. Well, then 2008 happened. 2 things happened. One, there was 2008, second, technology. And third, whatever services we were doing now got outsourced to India. it's funny now. It wasn't funny then because I'm from India. So I was like, man, I'm losing my business to India because they're doing it 10 cents on the dollar. And that's when I just met my wife. And, so I'm the successful businessman from Hollywood. I walk into Bollywood, go to Bombay, meet my wife. She's on 30 movies. She's about to star in another movie. And hey, why don't you come join me? Leave all this glamour and glitter to Hollywood. I'm a successful business person. Let's go. She comes, we get married, and my business goes overnight down. So now I got to start from scratch. So now, obviously, I've had a little bit of experience. I'm a little bit more comfortable. I've got a little bit of savings in the bank, but I don't have a job. I don't have anything coming in. And then the hardest thing I had to do was let go of my employees. But the one good thing is a lot of the people who were in my team are now have went on and are sales directors in other companies. So whatever we did in those 6-7 years added a lot of value to them, which I'm really proud about. But that's how. So I think in 2011 or 2009, 2010, I went and applied for a job on Craigslist for plastics. And I worked for a company called CP Polymers, where I landed up working in plastics for about 10 years before starting California Plastics 4 years ago.
That's crazy.
I am curious though, like how did you get a woman, and I'm sure she's beautiful,
Beautiful
from Bollywood to come join you across the sea, to join you on some, pretty much a startup? I mean, because, the way you describe it, sounds like you just went in there, snatched her up, and I'm sure it wasn't that easy. Like, how the hell did you do that?
No, actually, I'm a really good salesman. No, it's we connected.
You already knew her.
She's had a similar background as me, where her parents kind of just disowned her, which is another very scary story, actually. When she was born, because she was a girl, she was not wanted. So her parents kind of just gave up on her, and she was raised by her grandparents.
Oh, wow.
So I think me and her had that in common, where we were kind of disowned by our parents, both of us. So that got us together. And then I also have a little bit of a film background. My father was a movie actor. Well, my grandfather was a movie producer. So I kind of knew the
film world
industry. So I could talk shop with her. So I think we connected based on that.
Yeah.
And then she just saw that, hey, this guy, she was just, like Khurram said, you don't hear a lot of stories like me growing up in India and Pakistan, where kids at 18, 19, 21 leave and make something of themselves.
Yeah.
I think she related to that. And she was like, I can stand with this guy, because she had all kinds of businessmen and actors after her. But she was like, I want to meet a guy who's, I like this guy's story. He's come from the bottom. And I think she saw something in me. So, exactly. So actually self-made, not just,
Well, he's forgetting one very important element. The funny thing, I know his story so well, so I'm gonna help him here. What were you wearing when he first walked in the party when you saw her?
Sure. Yeah. So I was. So I walked in. Yeah, this is a funny story. I had some skill set as well. So I walked in to her birthday party. I just landed from LAX. I was wearing a Laker jersey, some shorts, and some sandals. And one of my friends told me, "Hey, we're going to this birthday party. You want to come join us?" And I was like, "Sure." And so he called up my wife, Bianca. I said, "Hey, I'm bringing my friend. Do you mind if he comes in?" And she goes, "Yeah, it's okay as long as he's dressed nice." Because my wife, till date, she's very particular about how we dress up. And I walk in. I was weighing 100 pounds more than this, so there's a twist to it too. So I'm about 260 right now. I was about 380 back then.
Wow.
I walk in with a Laker jersey, a hat, sandals, flip flops. So I just landed from a big flight. Walk in DJ Khaled. Sorry,
like DJ Khaled.
Yeah,
like DJ Khaled. More like Fat Joe. Yeah, I had a Fat Joe look. So I show up, and my wife, she's like, "Who's this guy?" And then I met her, and I just looked at her, and I was like, "Wow, this is the girl I'm going to marry." I just knew it. Man. And she had a friend of hers who was slightly shorter and not as attractive as her. So I went on and started dancing with her. And my wife thought, oh, Abby likes her. And even a friend, he was doing this to woo my wife. So I picked up some dance steps. I used to be a bouncer at a club, which actually used to have a Mexican night. So I picked up a lot of salsa merengue moves. So she liked my confidence of this big guy just, wooing this girl around. And then that's what we started
picture. That's so funny.
That's amazing.
Picture with a Laker jersey trying to dance salsa.
In Bollywood.
Yep.
Yeah.
So those, every experience in life helps.
So Abby, I don't know if she told you, I texted her on IG that I want to interview her next few weeks. I'm gonna have her come on board because we're looking for female speakers. I'm like, you know what? beautiful. This is Abby one day and Bianca another day. So we'll have.
Yeah, she has a story. She's done over 30 movies. You can Google her. If you just Google Bianca Desai,
I did.
yeah, you will see her work.
I looked into it. I was amazed where she comes from, where she's at. Story, man. You guys are married. Honey, to go to America and pack your bags. You land at LAX probably, right? LAX, walk out,
Yes.
and the beautiful palm trees, LA. I love LA. Business goes kaput. No employees have to have that conversation. Sorry, we'll let you guys go. And Abby's back to the drawing board.
Yeah, and so now I go and apply in job in plastics. I work for a company called CP Polymers. I walk in, they hire me, and then they hire this MBA who's got some plastic experience. And then my telemarketing experience, I was like, well, I can use this for this. So I would pick up the phone and start calling the customers, and then they would give us orders. And then so I joined this industry, which was very saturated. The reps were kind of comfortable because plastics is a great industry. A lot of people don't know about, but it's also a very old industry. The demographic of the sales reps is a lot higher because it's not the fun thing to do. Everybody got into tech. Nobody was graduating 20 years ago and saying, hey, I want to go sell plastic or get in the plastic industry. In the meantime, it's a silent company, the silent industry that's just been growing and growing and growing, and plastics is used everywhere. So I saw the scope. I started making calls. We grew the business by 30-40% in the first 6 months. The owner got really excited. Who's this guy? Has no idea about plastics, was helping me with the sales. So they made me the sales manager. We worked for a company for a couple of years, and then another adversity hit. That owner got sick. And unfortunately, through bipolar disorder, he passed away. So even though our business was growing, his kids didn't want to take over. They offered me to run the company, but I was still too young and scared because I still did not know a lot about plastics. I'd only been there for 2 years. So I landed up getting a job with another company, which is one of our top customers, a company based out of Michigan, where I worked for about 6 years, got experience, and then got to the point where, there's only so much I could do with them. And then 4 years ago, my wife and I took the plunge. We started California Plastics, and now we're a nationwide distribution company with warehouses in Massachusetts, in Chicago, California, headquartered in Irvine, and one of the fastest growing distribution companies in North America. Really proud about that.
You're the CEO founder.
I'm the co-founder. I work with my wife. I think we all husbands will tell you that. But my wife and I started the company together. And we started in Downey, California. That's where our daughter was born. And then we moved to Irvine just because I think this is a good city to raise a family. And so the business gave us that freedom to make that choice. And if you'd asked me in fact, even 5 years ago that, hey, Abby, I'll be doing this from Irvine. I'm like, get out of here. As you know, Irvine is one of the, I think their median home price is like 1.5 million or something like that. So I would never even imagine, but our business gave us that opportunity to have a better life for our daughter. And now she's in one of the safest neighborhoods of Orange County, I think, of America, and a really good school district. I'm really proud to be in Irvine. Good weather, we've got hiking trails. Life is good, but we're still hungry. We're just getting started. We're building our team now. Like I said, we're at 8 figures now. We're trying to get to 9 and 10. So yeah, man, that's the story so far. California Plastics.
Addison, want to jump in?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great story. I mean, from rag to riches, right? I mean, you hear these stories a lot, but
right.
I really want everyone on this segment today to really walk away with something that they can take away and use, right? Because I think we're skipping that. What were your daily habits? What were the struggles? If you can look back, what would you not do?
Sure.
Let's get down to like the details of what helped you grow. Because I mean, to go from this to this, you must have gone through some journey.
Transition. Yeah, absolutely. So I think just fundamentals. So we're actually working on a program, which is our sales training program, which is we're going to put out there, and I'll show you information on that as well. But a lot of people have a big misconception of sales. I think sales is there's a quote that says sales solve all problems. That's so true, isn't it? Right? So you're having a rough day, pick up the phone. Slow month, pick up the phone, send an email. Hey, there's a recession, pick up the phone. Things change when you take action.
Wow.
I have, used to be cold calling and, smile and dial. Now it's smile and email, like send an email out, just reach out through text, Instagram. There's so many ways you can get out and reach out to your customer, right? What you guys are doing with the video, that's amazing, man. You can get in front of your customers through that. You're adding so much value. This has become the new TV, right? This TV is gone. This is entertainment. So how do you get that? But I think just, some of the best practices we did were just fundamentals. Whether I was working at Khanna Communication, which was my first company, whether I was working at CP Polymers, at Chase Plastics, or now at California Plastics, obviously I have that immigrant chip in the shoulder, which is, I'm really proud about that. It's hard to give that chip to someone who was born here, but everybody has their struggles, right? You're trying to make a better home. You don't like your boss at that job. You don't like the job you're in. You don't like, where you live. You want to be somewhere else. In some cases, some people might be inspired because their best friends have a better car than they. Whatever you can do in this country if you have the right mindset, the right attitude, and just follow basic fundamentals. So, basic fundamentals we have, which again, prospecting, you've got lead generation, you got calls, you got emails, just meeting your customers, and just have that mentality of service. Sales is not about selling. Sales gets a very bad name because people think, oh, that car salesman, or people are trying to rob you. But in reality, a really good salesperson is someone who sincerely believes they can help people. So you find a void in the market, and then you try to fill that void. And then it's your job to market. And so if you help somebody, it's your job to let more people know of the value you bring, so you can keep sharing that value. And you keep doing that and fall in love with the process, then the sales and the numbers and the commissions, they just come. So instead of chasing the sales and the commission, just chase the process, fall in love with the process, figure out what process is, what do you work, whether it's making phone calls. If you like making phone calls, stick to that, make 100 phone calls a day. If you like sending emails, stick to that, send 100 emails a day. Spend an hour a week prospecting. One of the biggest things we tell our team is, the importance of being consistent. If you spend an hour a week prospecting, that 1 hour could be worth $500 to $1,000, or whatever you want to do, whatever field you're in. And there's a formula that I get into in my training, which I could share more. But yeah, those are some of the basic things that we do, and we do it every day, regardless of how the month is.
It's so funny what you're saying, is that's what our other third partner at Juan, he's not here right now, and Edison and myself talk about, is forget them. And I had a conversation yesterday with Edison, I think, on our podcast. I said, Eddie, I think salespeople are so focused on commission and dollars that they just put that energy out there. I'm 40 years old now. I have about 20 years in marketing, sales, and entrepreneurship. The one thing I've learned now at age 40 is that put that away, provide value, good intention, sincere intention. So yeah, I'm here to help you. And maybe this product's not for you. You know what? But let me explain to you what we can help you with. And after that, it's up to you, Mr. Buyer or Seller. But this is my job to help you out. And I think if agents, salespeople can adopt that mentality, the money will follow, as you said. And
absolutely. Whenever I was chasing money, I never got that far. Whenever I was when I was enjoying the process, first, you got to fall in love with your process. You got to sell to yourself, hey, man, can I do this? Is this, it's not for everybody.
Not for everyone. I say that all the time.
The biggest mistake you can do is go to a conference and pay $20,000 and become a businessman. It doesn't happen, right? No. But it also can be developed, but that takes time. So if you have a natural, like I have a gift of the gab, my wife is an introvert. She will, for her, even picking up the phone and calling is like torture. But now, I've developed a plan with her where I've made her fall in love with the process. So if you fall in love with the process, now you're just doing it for the process, and then success just comes. Think about it. Very simple example. You're the group of people and you want to go have Italian food, but you got some people who want to have Mexican food. You got some people who want to have Indian food. Or let's just say you want to take everybody to an Indian buffet, right? Because it's great, it's awesome, they eat all kinds of food. So how do you tell people, hey, how do you get a group of people to go together to go have Indian food? You're not doing nothing wrong. You want to have Indian food. They're going to enjoy it, but you got to convince them. So you got to use sales over there too. Yeah. Similarly, you got to use that same skill set.
You with your wife, your kids, me and Edison, we have young kids. We're always telling our kids, hey, don't do that. You have to go here. Tell your wife, telling your team, you as a team member telling your team leader, you're selling, everyone is selling each other, and
Right.
nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that. It's everybody's when you realize that everybody is selling, there's nothing wrong with that. Then you fall in love with the process. You open your eyes to different things. Now, I'm not talking about using techniques to, manipulate people. There's a thin line.
That's different. That's a different topic.
That's completely different. And I used to, one of the things I learned when I was working for corporate America, they would send us in all these different sales training programs. And honestly, I never liked them, most of them, because they would teach us these different gimmicks, and gimmicks may work with one or two people, but it's not consistent. Like Khurram said, if you sincerely want to help people and fall in love with the process, your sincerity will bring you success.
Absolutely.
100% right.
A couple of things you've been mentioning. You said you mentioned fundamentals, which I think it's and you keep mentioning that over and over and over. I heard you say already almost 10 times. I think that's the core of, I think if I can identify how you became so successful, that was the core of your success running this almost 8-figure business or 9-figure business now that you're running, right? Is those fundamentals, right?
Yes.
And then the next thing you talked about is falling in love with the process. I think also is trusting the process, right?
Right.
You got to trust the process, because one common pattern that I see with a lot of professionals, not just in real estate but in anything, right? We start something, right? With the excitement starts here because it's something new, something exciting. We start here, but then a week goes by, 2 weeks go by, we're not getting that result, and all of a sudden that motivation just starts to drop.
Yeah. So that's
how do you fall in love with the process when you're not getting the results, right? Can you shed some light on that?
Yeah, no, great question. So your process needs to be revisited. So if you're doing something for a couple of weeks and it's not working out, you got to find out, you got to reverse engineer your process. First, you got to get comfortable with it. Chances are you're not comfortable with that process that you're doing. And that's probably why you're not seeing success.
That's 100%.
You may be, so say, for example, say you're cold calling, right? And you're cold calling for 2 weeks, you're getting no results. Well, have you tweaked your script? Have you gone to your manager? Have you asked someone who's more experienced and asked that question? Hey, I've been calling my customers, but I'm not getting a response. Can I sit next to you? Can I just hear you? Go find someone who is successful at doing what they're doing. Tweak your process. So first of all, you've got to realize it's all about delayed gratification, right? You're not going to get success instantly. But if you got to master your process. So if you're making calls, if you're sending an email outreach, send 100 emails, see the one that works, keep tweaking it. And then if you find something that works, stick to it and use that, and then consistently play it. So does that answer your question?
No, absolutely. And I think that's 100%. It's like, you got to tweak it, right? Like,
I'm going to put that in my course, man. That was a great question, Edison. Thank you.
No problem, man. But I think what you just said, man, resonates with me, man, because I'm getting back on the horse. For a while, I stopped production because we started the company, and I've always said, well, I can't run a company if I'm also producing. I gotta choose, right?
Right.
But we're in a place right now where I want to start to really show that this can be done. Like, this is not rocket science. It's really just overcoming your fears. And one of the things that I'm focusing on right now is tweaking, right? Like if I get on the phone and someone hangs up the phone on me, or maybe I butchered that call. Number one, I'm not gonna beat myself up, and I'm not gonna get hard on myself. But how can I do better next time, right? So like, let me tweak it here, let me tweak it there, and then keep sharpening that axe. Like I shared a story the other day about the lumberjacks, and I love that story because this guy taking an hour break, everybody thinks he's sleeping in his car or something. But he's chopping more wood than everybody else. It's because that hour break, while everybody else thought he was just sleeping or maybe eating or whatever, he was sharpening his axe. So when he came back, he was able to chop.
Well, just going back to your story, I think we all are basketball fans. You know about Kobe, the late Kobe Bryant. I mean, one of the reasons he was so successful is when all the NBA players would train once or twice, he would have 3 training sessions every day, like a beast. So if you want to get better, and if you want to, you're either born with, if you're not born with it, then work harder. Instead of making 10, 20 calls, make 40 calls, make 300 calls. That's the process. Then you tweak the process. And then now you're that control the controllables. That's the only thing you can control is your effort, your education, and your energy. So Kobe Bryant, the greatest basketball player in the world, he doesn't need to practice 3 times a day, but he's still doing it. And that's why in his last game, he put up 60 points, and we're still talking about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, that's another thing you keep mentioning, and I keep hearing you say, you haven't dropped the amount of calls less than 100. You've gone from 100 to 200, 300, but you haven't gone less than 100.
No, yeah,
Like, number one, why? Why do you want to call that many people? And number two, how do you fit it into your calendar? And how do you commit to it, right? Because that's another
Absolutely.
challenge that a lot of us have is, okay, I know I got to do it. Like, for example, in our company, we have a standard of like at least 50 phone calls a day. I mean, 50, that should be an hour. That's it. And we have a
Right.
dialer, so it should be done even quicker, right?
If you have a predictive dialer, yeah, then you should be doing more. Absolutely, yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. But I'll be honest with you, and some of us here in this segment today are struggling with that. Like getting to get to do 50 is a struggle.
Sure.
You're talking about at least 100 to 200, 300 phone calls
Yes.
a day. So
Yes,
two-part
it's-
question: why and how do you do it?
Right. So that's my goal every day. But obviously, if you're slowing down for a good reason, like taking an order or helping a customer or adding value, that's fine. But if you have that goal every day on a slow day, like a day today, where it's, the day before Thanksgiving, you think everybody else in my industry is making phone calls right? No, but I'm about to jump on the phone, make some calls, send some emails, talk to my customers. And that's why I keep growing. So you always have a goal of 100 or 50 or however you want to do it. But you got to have that as just in your DNA, regardless of what to do, and then find time for it. Find an hour, block time away for those calls. Now, don't let a yes slow you down. Don't let a no slow you down. But sometimes if you're slowing down for a good reason, like talking to a customer, that's okay. But then if you get a good sale, you get excited. Well, get back on the phone, get to another one, get that momentum flowing, get that energy flowing, and then do it consistently. That's the only secret of success is consistency. You got to do it every day. Come rain, come sun, come shine. That's the only thing you can control is the amount of effort you make. So if your goal is to make 50 calls a day, yeah, some days you might make 30. Some days you might make 10, some days make 15. But even on the slow day, when you made those 10 calls, the fact that you have it in your DNA that, hey, I got to make 50 calls every day over a long period of time, think about the number of calls you've done in a year. So, it's a target. But it's like, like Grant Cardone says, go 10X, right? My goal is I want to go 100X. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? I'll come short of my goal, but at least I'll get there. So if you have a goal of 50 calls a day, try to execute every day, but don't be too hard on yourself if you didn't, as long as you made a sincere effort, because you may have slowed down because now you're doing a 1 hour session, we're adding value to yourself. Well, obviously, there's limited hours in a day. So don't be too hard on yourself if you don't complete that, but just keep that target every day in your mind going in.
I just think that, and I work in call centers. I did all sales jobs you can think of, like you guys did, you and Edison both. 50 phone calls, man. I mean, it's not hard. And I think there's some fear there we have to work on, Edison. But I mean, typically, man, that's like if you give yourself 3 hours, that's like, how many calls is that in 3 hours, man? 50 divided by 3, that's not a lot, man. And I think it's just the mindset has to be improved.
You know what it is?
Yeah. Go ahead.
It's creative avoidance. That's what I've heard somebody else say that, and I thought that was so true. It's creative avoidance. We come up with all these creative ways to avoid.
Yeah. So just going back to your question, Edison, Kobe Bryant did not need to do, he had a 4-hour training session. That's all is required by professional NBA guys, but he found time, right? He woke up at 4 a.m. or 2 a.m. and did it. Yeah. So, if your day, that's up to you. I mean, if your day starts like, I don't know what states you guys cover, but if your day starts at 8, maybe start your day at 6, the return of investment when you do that over time is the compounding effect is phenomenal.
It's amazing.
You go from being someone who's a nobody, in our case, when we started California Plastics, to now dominating a competition. In fact, my old boss, I'm not going to mention the name, but that company is a $400 million company. Within 2 years, we were featured head to head with them in Plastics News, which is the biggest publication. And that's just a great
feeling.
Result of us falling in love with the process, man.
That's amazing.
Because I was trying to train their team the same thing, and they would ask me the same question. Well, Abby, how do I go make so many calls? Just go do it, man.
Just do it. Yeah, just do it. Get it done.
Yeah. Abby, you're a big fan of Grant Cardone, right?
Oh, huge fan of Grant Cardone.
So is Edison too. You went to the 10X things recently, right? I saw.
Yes, we did. We did. It was great. And actually, Grant Cardone gave a nice shout out to my story and my wife's story of an entrepreneur. And there's a nice video on my Instagram. You can follow.
I saw that.
At California Plastics. So that was an unreal moment because I was a fanboy, just like I think you were when you met Patrick Bet-David. And I would have come to Florida and meet him.
Yeah.
I mean, that's another story. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But I love Grant for his attitude, man. Just massive action. Take massive action, whatever you do. And if you guys don't listen to Grant Cardone, and if you're having a slow day, just listen to Uncle G for like 20 minutes.
Uncle Grant.
You'll pick up the phone and call. Yeah.
Yeah. You're right.
Some days are hard. Some days are hard for me too. Like, it's tough. You might get a bad news. A deal might not go through, but you just might get a cup of coffee, just psych yourself up and go to work, man. That's the only thing you can control.
Yeah. I was actually having a conversation with one of our agents. She's actually on this segment today. If you want to jump in, you're more than welcome to. But that's exactly what I told her yesterday. Some of her deals are falling apart, or actually fell apart.
Right.
So she was feeling a little down, and that's exactly that. Just get back on the horse and just control what you can control.
Yeah. So
you need abundance in your business, number one.
Right.
I think what happens is we get so attached to these final outcomes because we're only counting on 1 or 2 deals.
Because you're not falling in love with the process. If you fall in love, so for me, the rush is not the sale. It is hard. It's hard to explain this. For me, the rush is to get that new customer. That's what I'm always chasing. So I get a sale. In fact, I almost tell, I got it. Okay, good, great. On to the next one. So you got to fall in love with that hunt. You got to fall in love with that chase. When you do that, and another thing is sometimes some customers, just because they said no, does not mean they're not going to buy from you. I go back and take a look, and if when we work with Tesla, Tesla's one of our customers. It took me 10 years to get a Tesla, right? So you got to be persistent, and then you got to find out, well, why is it that this customer did not buy my service? I know it's the best service in the world. I bring a lot of value. What did they see? So you keep going back to keep dissecting, but stay persistent, professionally persistent. And just because somebody said no, when someone says no to me, I just go and have a big smile. I'm like, I'm going to get you. You're going to fall in love with me. You're going to be a customer. And we've turned so many customers. So, just because someone says no, don't be too hard on yourself. Put it away. It's a temporary failure, I like to call it. You look at it, you dissect it, and then you move on. But if you keep doing your process with sincerity, eventually that same customer is going to find out about you in the marketplace, because you're going to add value to some other customer. They're going to talk about you. And that's what happened to us. Tesla didn't want to do it with us. They're like, you're a small company. Who is California Plastics? We're a $1 trillion company. I had the engineer tell me in my face, and this guy happened to be from India, and he goes, how do I trust you? What happens to you? Who are you? Sure enough, then he heard from us from another molder, and now, they're one of our biggest customers. And now I brag about that every time I go in and somebody asks me, why should I do business with California Plastics? I'm like, I understand, Mr. Customer, we're a small company. Well, there's another small company you may have heard of called Tesla. We work with them. They have the same questions. We help them out. We can help you out.
Wow. Drop the mic.
I'm not gonna lie, it did throw me off my game on Monday, and because I had one offer withdrawn, I had one deal that's 2 months set to close today, cancel, and then I had another one potential, was like, oh, I'm not interested anymore. And so on Monday, it really got me down, and I wasn't able to master up that bring my energy out to get on the phone again that day. I mean, Tuesday I was like, it's a new day, I'm better, whatever. But I kind of took the day and I couldn't get on the phone, and it's wasted time, I guess, right?
Yeah, you just got to muster your energy. You got to realize you're messing with your business. So you got to muster your energy. One of the things what I do is I have a dog. So if I have a bad phone call or a rough phone call, I just go for a walk. Just come back, start again. Remember, have your vision board, like I think Khurram said. And just keep laser focused on that, and just smile.
Yeah.
If a customer is being mean to you on the phone or hanging up, just smile. It makes a big difference, even if you're on the phone. If you're just smiling, you change your attitude, you change your thing, and that's hard. It's not easy. It takes a lot of practice to have that. But I've been there too, where it's some days are rough.
Yeah, I just, and then I took it personally, whereas maybe I should, and what did I do wrong? Or maybe I'm not good at this. Maybe I'm not good at sales. And so I took that personally. And so I just have to learn how to okay, let's put that in the box and keep it moving.
No, but sometimes it's good to take it personally because you're passionate. You're taking it personally because you're passionate. So that's only being human. There's nothing wrong with that. But you just got to, take it personally, move on. And, you're talking about the story. So hopefully this happens to you again. You can remember that time and not repeat that and just continue to keep going, because you've decided to join a profession where you're going to actually help people. So if you believe in that, then what's going to stop? Because, some customer might be having a rough day, it's not your fault. And they might take it out of you on the phone. And that's fine. Just go on to the next one.
Cool.
Goes
Thank
back
you.
to fundamentals. You're welcome. Going back to fundamentals. Thank you for asking. Going back to fundamentals, falling in love with the process, doing it every day, every single day. I keep going back to Kobe Bryant, one of the richest guys in the world. Beautiful wife, lives in Newport Beach. He does not need to go to the gym every day, does he? Yet he went 3 times a day. So, what are you and I doing?
That's
Right.
strong, man. That's powerful. Guys, I need the questions. Michelle, you have amazing questions.
Obviously Grant Cardone, Kobe Bryant, those are some inspirations to you. What my question is, like, what are your daily routines or morning practices or something that, the things that you do or listen to that keep you smiling, when you get those no's and those, your daily routines that keep you motivated and driven.
Absolutely.
The small stuff.
Yeah,
I'm asking for the small
basic stuff. I walk my dog every morning. I think that just getting out there, and then I go. Right now, I'm going and doing boxing. It's a fitness exercise. I know, Kuram, you do it as well.
Mhm.
So I just go and just punch the bag, and so all my frustration's already out. I'm in a big smile. I'll go for a run. Just do something 20, 30 minutes for yourself in the morning. I know there's lots of things about morning routines and waking up at 4 a.m. Find something that works for you. What works for me is getting up in the morning and I have to take my dog for a walk. Otherwise he's going to pee in the house, right? So I'm out. So I got my warm up 20, 30 minute walk every morning. Then I go to my class, which is right next, and find something that's easy. So like the class I have is literally 5 minutes away. I go to this boxing class. It's 45 minutes. You come out, you feel like Rocky Balboa, man. Let's go. And you've got those endorphins going. And then nothing's going to slow me down. Nothing's going to piss me off. I'm just going to keep going. So that's what I personally use. If I do get upset, I do listen to a lot of Ed Milet. It's a nice podcast to listen to. Of course, Grant Cardone as well. Patrick Bet-David, Tony Robbins, Andy Frisella, I don't know if you guys have heard of him. So there's so much stuff out there,
Yeah, so Edison, myself, and Juan, everyone you named right now, we're huge fanboys of these people. We went to a show in MDM in Austin in May, June. We saw Ed Milet, and I think Andy Frisella was there now. But these people, the people he's talking about, these are people I post on my social media. Andy Frisella, follow him. Ed Milet, he's the G, he's the top G's.
Oh yeah,
he's the guy to follow. Grant Cardone, if you don't know Grant Cardone, you're doing something wrong, right? Like his sales maneuvers are amazing. Patrick Bet-David, these 4 that we just named right now, Edison, I think you agree, are probably the pinnacle of self-development, entrepreneurship. These 4 men, and they're just each of them, and they have a different style, different story, which is amazing.
Right.
Sorry,
another person I'm also following recently is E.T. I don't know if you guys have heard of Dr. E.T. Eric Thomas. He's got this 4 a.m. club where he's up 4 a.m. just bringing positivity. You listen to him on your Instagram, you're pumped, man. You're ready to go.
Yeah,
that's his voice. I mean, he's yelling the whole time. So.
He is. He's yelling the whole time. He's passionate, and that's what it is, right? And then you got to find your inner voice too. So practice what you're doing. Like we all are talking over here. Just practice that. That helps a lot as well.
Yeah. Well, one common thing that all these guys have is that they're all relentless, man.
Yes.
They will not stop. They're just relentless. They all have their own unique way, which is great, right? You don't have to be like anybody else, but if one thing you can copy from everybody is just be relentless.
Yeah, just be the best version of you, and it needs work sometimes. So just keep working on it. This is work. Listen to podcasts is work. Then actually doing the work is work too. So that helps you as well. Then they all fell in love with the process. They keep doing it every day.
Absolutely. Rose, did you have a question?
Not more or so of a question, but just something that he did say did kind of resonate with me, something I've been working on recently. Because I know you and KB talk about it all the time, is just your morning routine and focusing on self-development and meditating, which I was very bad with. And I just started working on that. But also falling in love with the process, because I know you're familiar with Edison. I was so focused on the big things, like the contract and I've been working a lot recently on just finding joy in the small wins, which has definitely helped me lately. But the way you phrased it just kind of like made it fall into place even more in my head, because I didn't even think about it that way, just falling in love with the process.
Absolutely. I think the biggest challenge is like, how do you fall in love, right? How do you fall in love with something that's not giving you what you want, what you need right now? And that's the biggest challenge a lot of entrepreneurs face. Well, and it doesn't matter what level you're in. If you're an agent, if you're a broker, if you're a CEO, it doesn't matter. You're starting this journey, you're not getting the results that you need. How do you keep falling in love with it? And I think, I mean, we all talk about whys all the time. You know, I think, you know, and we all have different reasons why we're doing this, you know, and you just have to just be clear about it. One thing that I learned, not to kind of, you know, go on a rant here, but one thing that I learned, I was watching Creed the other day with my wife, and I'm always, you know, we're big on the whys. Why do you do this? Why do you do this? Like, Rose, you and I had a conversation where I kept asking you more and more, like I wanted it deeper and deeper. And so you got emotional, right? And I'm like, okay, great. Now we reached it, right? But the way that this guy Creed in this movie, they presented it, I was like, okay, it doesn't have to be that difficult, right? So Sylvester Stallone kept asking Creed, like, why are you doing this? Why do you want to fight this guy that could potentially kill you like your dad did? Like your dad died, right? For whoever's a Rocky fan here. But anyway, long story short, at the end of the movie, he goes to Apollo's tomb and is telling Apollo, you know, after he did what he did, I didn't do this for you. I did this for me because this is my fight. You know, and I think sometimes we get caught up on the whole, well, I need to have an external force to motivate me, when in reality, it's your fight, man. It's just you. It's your fight. So you go out and do it because of you. Don't do it because of your kids or your wife or your parents, this and that, which is great, right? But it doesn't have to be an external force. Is what I'm trying to say. You know, it's just like, just do it because it's your fucking fight. You know, you say you're going to do this, you're going to do it. You're going to prove it to yourself. And you just go out and do it. Like you said, every single day, just consistently, you know, and keep challenging yourself. You know, and 50 phone calls, you're already mastered out. Go for the next 50. Don't just keep doing 50, you know? So.
Yeah, awesome stuff, guys. Well, anyone else have any questions? Let me know. Abby, man, I'm so happy to meet you, man. I mean, I've been following, but I heard this story about a year ago, and the power of social media. Let me tell you, before I end this, let me tell you how humble this guy is. I DM'd him in a few hours, or maybe less than a few hours. He DM'd me right back. And to be humble at the level he's come, I mean, that's something we all should learn from. I can't wait to interview Bianca. Abby, I know you love California, and we all love California, but Florida, my friend. Think about Florida. As a entrepreneur, you're paying so much taxes.
No, I know.
California.
No, I think about it every day. I tell my wife every day that, hey, man, like, you know, she's like, where does that Patrick Bet-David live? I'm like, yeah, let's go become his neighbor.
Fort Lauderdale. I know exactly where you live.
I know.
And
yeah,
it's
well, we have a sales office. Well, we have a rep who lives in Florida, so I go there quite a bit. But no, absolutely, like, you know, we're called California Plastics because this is where my daughter was born. But we're serving all over US, Canada, and Mexico. So we actually have more business in Mexico than we have in California. So you never know, man. We might be knocking on your door soon.
By the way, I have a little strategy for you to save some taxes. I'll talk to you one-on-one.
Absolutely, sure.
Because you can buy a house, your second home, and
yes,
save.
yes. Yeah, let's connect on that. You never know.
And then, Bobby, next time you're in town,
look at this guy prospecting right now. I love it.
Come stop Orlando. Dinner on.
I gotta call the rock star.
Thank you. But we have.
Well, you got to ask the question. If he would have not asked me that question, it would have not occurred to me, right?
Right.
You see,
that's for the business. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but please stop in Orlando or Miami, wherever you hear, 2 cities I'm in all the time. Right. Dinner on us. It was sent.
No, absolutely.
We'd love to have you here. We have our podcast. We'd love to have you here too, and face to face. That's a different story. But Abby, thank you so much, team. Any questions? So recap: sacrifice, vision. That's the thing that I picked up here. Tenacity, hardship gonna come. Forget the money, the commission, put that on the side. Focus on providing the value. And one of the biggest takeaways I have that keeps jumping at me, that Abby said a bunch of times, is trust the process, enjoy the process. Trust the process and enjoy the process. So for that's my notes here. Anything else, Edison, from you?
I think another thing that you mentioned that we didn't really dive into more is just being confident, or what was it that you said? But I think it was more along the lines of that, like you're not enjoying the process because you're not confident at it.
Yeah, you don't trust the process because you're not confident. You keep tweaking the process, you keep doing it like anything, and then your confidence will come, right? So you start working, you start making calls, you start reaching out, you get one sale, you get second sale, the more sale, the more effort you put in, the more results you're gonna get. The results is gonna give you the confidence. But what happens is most people will quit, like you said, because they're not seeing some results, and then they'll go back to start a new process. But if you believe in your process, how do you believe your process? You know, you got to put some work into that process. So whether it's going to a mentor, going to your boss, going to someone who's been doing it for a while, like one of my biggest reasons of my success has been I have like 25 mentors. You know, I ask questions to everybody's in the industry. I just keep picking their brain almost until they'll hang up the phone on me. It used to be. Now they don't, because now a lot of them are my customers too and suppliers. But you just got to keep bugging. So in your company, you know, go to Edison, go to Quorum and ask him, just keep bugging them. Hey man, this didn't work out right. What can I do different? What do you do? Just keep bugging them, because no one's going to give you value or give you information until you bring them some value.
Yeah.
And then your confidence will go up.
Small wins,
Absolutely.
small wins throughout the day.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Awesome, Abby. Buddy, brother, appreciate you very much for jumping on. God bless you, man. Your mission you're on, Bianca as well. Wait to talk to her. I'm gonna reach out to her and get a set of dates with her and have her on here as well. Awesome. God bless you, my friend. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a great, fantastic day. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanksgiving, guys.